Right. So last week we discussed about the Microsoft Office 2010, the PowerPoint, right? That's which is comes under the Microsoft Office package. We talk about the components, and we talk about the different kinds of tabs that we have to involve with, right? And we talk about some viewing modes as well, and we get to know that the particular slide where they are allowing us to create the contents, or like arrange the contents for the presentation, can be taken in many different layouts, right? Then we talked about how to import things onto a slide, and how we are going to type on a particular presentation slide, right? How we are given the chance to take the new slide, and how we are going to change the layouts of each and every slide as we want. And then we talk about the background changes, right? And as well as some particular themes, right? And we talk about the shapes and pictures kind of things, how we are going to insert those things into our presentation, right? And as a final part, I remember we talk about how to apply a particular audio onto this particular presentation, right? So today we are going to see how we are going to insert a small video and some things that we have to consider when we are like creating a presentation. The things that we have to be more careful, and how those things can be easily maintained, or can easily be taken into your presentation to give a better idea to the audience about what we are going to present. As well as we are going to talk today how to prepare the handouts using the presentation. What are the ways that we can create the printouts, in which kinds that we can create the printouts through the presentation software, right? So let me remind you the things with some practicals, right? So I told you we can search the PowerPoint from the starting menu. So I'll take a PowerPoint, and I'm taking a blank presentation, right? So this is the way that we start this, right? And I told you it's normally it is coming like presenting with a one particular slide, and that slide layout is working as a title slide, right? So so if we are going to a particular presentation, we better choose a particular title, and if we have we can have a subtitle, so we can change the fonts as we talked, right? And we can apply all these different applications, different formattings. Even I can insert some word arts to this as well. Right, so likewise, So we can create new slides by clicking this new slide button and the pressing enter as well. Right. So yeah, have took some of the pictures over here. Right. So I can insert those things according to my requirement. Right. So I'm trying to show you a particular video regarding this. So what we can take, let me see. Right, so this is going to be a small video. So I'm going to insert that small video. So I can insert that small video with the help of this insert video button over here, or I can go to the insert button, insert tab, and go for the video. All right, so I can choose from where my video is going to be inserted. So I say it is from this particular place, and yeah. So yeah, now here it has another video, so that's good. So I have chosen this particular video, so I have to choose to find where the video is from the file explorer, right? So then I can insert. So when I insert the video, I can adjust how the video is going to happen. So if I want to have my video spread all over my slide, I can maintain that. Right, so right, so it's a kind of a video that describes about the computer generations, right? Actually, the very first computer, not the very first, the first generation computers, which is called the ENIAC. So meanwhile, I'll take some headings, and I'll insert a particular components over here. So I can drag and drop my pictures over here, like I do, right? So I can change the way that how it appears over here, right? So and here I will be able to insert a particular smart art. And I'll change some different colors over here. So I'll say evolution of the computer. So I can make it bold, the headings, right? And I can go for the design tab, and I can apply some particular theme like we did last week. Yeah, I'm going to choose this. All right, so according to the theme, these things have been changed. So we can adjust in a way we want. Yeah, Sukita, since it is start at 4:45, I'm sorry, 2:45, I'm having the class until 4:15. Right, and yeah, here you can place this particular thing. All right, so after the presentation is done, I can play my slideshow. So it's going to be something like this, right? So with the mouse click, I will be able to go like here and there. Like basically we are going to the forward, right? If you want to go backward, I can use the arrow keys, back arrow keys, right? Or the left arrow keys allowing me to go back, and front arrow key allowing me to go front. So when you are having a video, on that slide, this video controller is given, right? So you can play and you can see it is being played. I'll share this with the sound.
The work of 20,000 people
you can see
working
the
by hand. What a
progress
desk
bar of the
calculator could
video
do in 20 hours, ENIAC could do
is
in
being
30 seconds. It could discriminate
forwarded.
the sign of a number and compare numbers for
The
equality.
sound
It could
controller
add,
is here,
subtract, multiply,
and
divide,
the pausing and playing the video will be here.
and extract square roots. In 1 second,
Right,
ENIAC was
so
1,000 times
it is the way that we can
faster than
work with a video in a particular
any other
right? So then we can move to the very last of the presentation. Yes, Denuka, we can, like what Denuka is asking, can we set the video to be played when we are transiting from the previous slide to this slide, right? So now I'm in the editing mode. So I have selected my video. You can see these white dots plays around the video. So then we can go for the playback, right? Then we can say start automatically, right? So if I say start automatically, it will start without a problem, right? And if you want, we can insert a particular caption. You may try those things out. So let's see what happens when we are moving from this slide to the next slide. So I'm just giving a mouse click.
ENIAC was
So it is
1,000 times faster than any other
without
calculating
any
machine ever
interference of
built.
us.
It could do the work of 20,000 people working by hand.
Right, so
What a
just by
desk
clicking, it
calculator
will help you
could do
to
in
pause
20
and
hours.
play, right? And using the arrow keys, you will be able to move to the next slide. All right, so that is the way that you will be able to insert a particular video, right? And we talked about the animations too. I think you remember how the animation works. So you can do many different animations using the PowerPoint, right? Not just a simple animation, right? And the last part is about printing a particular presentation, right? So to do that, before that, I'll show you some presentations that I have done where I put some effort of doing the things regarding the Kurugedara presentations, right? So yeah, So this is something I made to introduce the microbit, the physical computing. So it's from Sinhala, right? And you can see how we have used the contrast colors over here, like the blue color background contains the black color fonts, right? And when we are like talking about some of the topics, we use the black color square. And here I have used a particular video, right? And microbit logo and some explanation about microbit, how the front panel and the back panel works, right? So these are some grade 9 stuff, people, right? So yeah, so this is how it was given or delivered. So once I press this, this is just to take your attention regarding the microbit. So I can play this. So it is showing a particular circuit scenario, right? So these animations were taken for my convenience. So when this happens, I did my explanation. So that's why I told you, like, presentation, it is not something which explain the presenter, right? Presenter will be there to explain the things, right? This particular presentation slides will be a help to do those things, right? So the use of the images, right? So I haven't used many of the words over here. So all the things were with me regarding the presentation. So I'm just simply say the things about the microbit circuit, right? So, and I have given a guidance for the people who are like interest, or people who are watching these things, right? And I have used some animations over here. Hold on. Yeah, this it is regarding the transferring code. So when I'm done with the coding part of the microbit, I want to show to the students some particular file that I made inside my computer is transferred to this microbit circuit. So I made something like this, and this is done by the motion parts and the entrance animations. So it appears, and now it shows it is being moved or along the wire and goes inside the this particular circuit, right? So we only need to, like, we don't need to involve a lot of animations inside our presentation to make it interest, right? Only the things which interest the audience, right? So it shouldn't be a distraction to the audience. It should be something which is capable, or like which has the capability of keeping the audience to the presentation, right? Yeah, so it went like that. Like in a particular presentation, at the end of the particular presentation, sometimes we summarize what we have done, and sometimes we say thank you, right? And sometimes we ask for the questions. So we better have a particular slides to recognize that particular thing, right? Yeah, so yes, as I remember, those were some interesting stuff. Yeah. So when we are using a presentation, when you're done with the presentation, we can go and print the presentation if you want, right? But printing a presentation will give you different kinds of benefits, right? So you are going to print a presentation if it really needs for you to print, right? And if you want to print, you can use the print option. Daddy, let's play tag. Tati will come after the class, huh? So then it will ask how the printing should happen, right? So I can print one particular slide per one page, right? If I want, I can give a selection of slides, right? By choosing this print selection, then I have to say which type of which slides that I'm going to print, right? And I can choose print all slides or the slides that I want. I can change the printing ways, the printing pattern. I can say I can choose to print the entire slide to one particular sheet, or I can print the slide and the notes. If I've written any notes in the note section, which we have talked last week, can be taken to this particular point, right? And or else we can just outline the things, right? So outlining will help you to print only the content of the slides, not the things inside the slide, right? And there are some other printing options, like regarding the slides, we can have one slide per page. We can have many slides, like 2, or we can have 4 slides per page. Here it's 3 and the notes are there. So likewise, you can choose it according to your requirement, how the things are going to be printed, right? So regarding the printers options, we can choose to print on one side or the both the sides, right? That's actually regarding the capability of the printer, right? So this is the way that we will be able to manage or to print our particular PowerPoint presentation, right? So other than the printing, if we want to manage our slides at once, we can choose this facility called slide sorter, right? So it is taken from the view, which is right over here, right? So we are in the normal view. If you take the slide sorter, we will be able to manage our slide easily, because all the slides are given right there. So if you zoom it out, you will be able to see all the slides that you are using in your PowerPoint presentation. So in that case, you can change the positions, right? Change the things here and there, or the order of the slides can be changed very easily, right? So like when it comes to the normal view, it will be a little bit harder for us to do things like that. So the normal view is there for the doing the editing part, but slide sorter will allow you to manage the slides in a very efficient manner. Okay, so people, are you clear with these things? Can I have the confirmation? Yeah, so when you are creating a presentation, always remember the things that we were discussing previously. Like you have to think about carefully about the fonts, the way you are going to present that, and the colors, right? And the content, right? And the target group, right? You have to think about a lot more about that. Presentation is nothing, is not only about like taking some pictures, arranging a nice slide and putting all these things. It's about when you are creating a presentation, you should always think about how you are going to present it, right? So when you are saying something, how the presentation is going to help you, right? What's the plan, right? You should have that entire picture in your mind when you are creating a presentation, right? It's not just creating slides, right? Okay, so I think we are done with the PowerPoint presentations, right? So as I told you, there is nothing much to learn about the presentation in deep, but when you are working with the presentation, it has many different things, many different capabilities that you can work with, right?
Hey, what's this, Tati?
Okay, oh, that's mango, right?
Yeah.
Let me take a bite. All right. So let me check. Did we miss anything? Okay, Monica. Did we miss anything? Goodbye, Susu. During the lesson. So we talk about these projectors. We talk about the characteristics. We talk about different kinds of softwares and the components and all these view mods and the layouts. Yeah, then how we are going to control the zoom and how to perform, how to change the backgrounds, insertion of objects, adding text to the slides, right? And yeah, we talk about the slide transition as well, right? I think you can remember how the slide transition went, neither? Like go to the transition and we just choose what kind of a transition that we are going to use, right? So there are different kinds of transitions, right? And we can apply that transition to all the slides or the particular slide, right? So once we play it, it will be something like this, right? So that is how the transition works. And then the animation, we done a particular animation regarding a small bike. We talk about the entering, we talk about emphasizing, and we talk about exiting, as well as we talk about the motion part as well, right? In a way that you can perform that. And inserting the sounds, we talk about it last week, and inserting a video, we talk about it today. And finally, it's about the printing, right? So yeah, now we will be able to move to the very new lesson, which is the database. Tesandu, still nothing much regarding the Windows 11 updates. Still, they are saying it is being tested. Again, beta version එක එළියට දීලා තියෙන නිසා පාවිච්චි කරන එකකින් feedbacks ගන්නවා කියලා තමයි දැනට තියෙන්නේ. Even I am concerned about that because I need to know. I'm searching for the very last date that we can have the Windows 11 free onto our computers, since I'm having the Windows 10. So I'll let you know anything goes change or anything came up, right? Okay, so I'm moving to the new lesson, which is the database, right? So this database lesson is talking about storing the data in a particular software called database management systems, right? In simple terms, in short terms, we call it DBMS, right? So now database is kind of a sector which can focus on a separate occupation or separate designations in the software industry, right? There are database administrators, database designers, database like the operators, right? So there are many people, right? So it's kind of a one specific sector when it comes to the software industry, right? So now today we are going to learn about the basic concepts of the database, and we are going to do some practicals with the help of the software called MS Access, Microsoft Access, right? So before that, we have to learn about what is a database, right? We have to learn why database is there and what kind of things that we can do using the database, right? So here they are talking about the database concept and they are introducing some of the traditional data storing methods. People, sometimes I'm getting a message saying my internet connection is not stable. Am I clear at your end, or is it getting unclear time to time? It's clear, right? Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so some of the examples for the traditional database are the phone book, right, where we store the phone numbers, right? All right, okay, Denuka. And people, if the unclearness is like keeping for a long time, please inform me, right? Okay, so phone book was one of the traditional databases where we write the contact numbers and contact details of a particular person using the alphabetical order, right? So the phone books, they normally they came up with the alphabetically categorized manner, right? So you can find some pages which belong to the contacts which starting from A, and some pages are there to record the contacts starting from B, likewise up until Z. There are some pages being vacant to store the data. So why it is being categorized? It is because it is easy for us to search something, right? Or otherwise, if we like write it every contact together, it will be very hard for us to find a particular contact, right? So once it is being categorized, so if you want to find a contact from starting from letter P, so you need to search the pages which belongs to the letter P only, right? So later this telephone numbers were stored electronically even today, where we are not maintaining the telephone contacts by ourselves fully. Device does that for us, right? We are just saving a particular contact, and the sorting part, categorizing part, majorly done by the device side, right? And again, when you are comparing the electronic database, or like electronically stored data versus manually stored data, there are several different advantages with the electronically stored data, right? So it is easy for us to search, easy for us to access, and we can store like something very much bigger than a book when it comes to the data, right? And even though it doesn't matter how big it is, it's just a few seconds of time for us to search something inside a telephone book, right? Or inside our contacts, right? So the advantages are explained below, and before that, the very important thing is here, definition defining a database. So it simply says it's a collection of organized data can be defined as a database. So it doesn't mean that this should be an electronic thing, right? As I told you, the telephone, the contact detail, the book which contains the contact details is also a database, right? So it has some particular organization, right? Like alphabetically, right? So we can call it a database, right? But when it comes in electronical manner, it has several different new advantages inside it, right? So this explains the advantages of a database. So more efficient in retrieving information, right? So it is easy for us to take a particular detail when the database is created successfully and maintained successfully. Easy to obtain copies, right? So we can copy it to any particular place. Smaller physical space to store data. So unlike books, we can store data inside a one single hard disk, the data which spreads over millions of books can be stored inside of one single hard disk, right? So it will be very much easier for us to save things in an electronic database. Yeah, it has their disadvantages, but advantages are more comparing to the disadvantages, right? So data analysis can be carried out efficiently. Yes, if the things are on a book, it will be harder for us to analyze. We have to go through the pages, we have to refer a lot of books and all these things. But when it comes to the electronical database, it is providing us the analysis facility through that database, right? So the database facilitates ourselves, the user self, to do a thorough analysis, right? So it is easy to be done, and data can be shared, something that the manual database cannot do, right? If we want to share a particular detail with some of our subordinators or some of our friends, either we have to photocopy it and give it to them, or one by one is going to refer the particular book, right? But when it comes to the database, we can easily share it. So if I made the database, I can refer that. Once I share it with 10 people, all those people can use the database and refer the database at the same time, right? Something which is not capable when it comes to the manual databases, right? And independence of data. Now that's a very important concept, right? So it says, though database and software are connected, database tables can be updated without changing the application software. Yeah, it's like you will see later, the things inside the database can be updated without doing any changes to the application program, right? So like we can access a particular database through an application program, which can be created using the database management system. So we can access and save the data inside a database without getting change the interface. Even though the interface got changed, it doesn't matter to the database which is at the back end, right? Okay, so before I move to the features of database, shall we write some little notes regarding the database? Okay, so have the heading database. It's the 9th unit, which is the last unit of grade 10. And yeah, don't go for the database concept. I tell you what to be written. Yeah, you may write it as I say, right? There are two methods. There are two methods that we can manage, that we can manage higher amount of data, come to the next rule and put Roman number 1. Manual database. Put a hyphen and continue. Maintaining the data. Maintaining the data by writing those down, by writing those down, by writing those down. By writing those down. Roman number 2, electronic database, electronic database. Put a hyphen and say maintaining the data, maintaining the data using an electronic method, using an electronic method using an electronic method. Yeah, that will be enough. Using an electronic method. And yeah, people, it's better you write these two examples for the manual method and the electronic method. Manual method, a book which contains telephone numbers, a book which contains telephone numbers. That will be the example for the manual database. And for the electronic database, contact list in a mobile device. Contact list in a mobile device. Okay. And under that, you may write this particular sentence. So it is important. In case if you are asked to define a database, this should be the way you are going to define it. Okay, are we done? So if you are done, you can start writing the advantages of database. And you only need to write this highlighted part, people. You don't need to write the explanations. List it down. Let me know when you are done, people. Okay, one is done. How about the others? And copy down these as well, people. And regarding the independence of data, you have to copy this entire thing. Okay, one is done. How about others?
Still writing.
All right, so moving forward, let's talk about the features of database. Right, so when it comes to the features of the database, the first feature that we are going to talk about is the minimal data redundancy. Right, so first of all, you have to understand what is redundancy. So it is simply explained over here. If the same data is stored in several tables, take it carefully. If the same data is stored in several tables, is called data redundancy, right? So having the same data in different table means storing the same data in different places. So when we are doing this, it is making a room for errors, because the data is not stored in one single place. It is stored in many different places. So if you are going to do any changes, you have to remember what are the places that this data is stored, and each and every place need to be changed. Otherwise, if you miss anything, later on some other day, you will feel or you will be in trouble of figuring out which kind of data, or like which data is the accurate one, right? So here, as the instance that they have given here is, it has this Firoza Lai. The name changed as Firoza Rafiq, right? So now, according to the example, this name is mentioned in two different places, two different tables. And even when it comes to the two different tables, the same name repeats in many different places. Can you see it? So if you are changing the name, you are going to change the name in all three places. In case if you miss a one place, later you will be getting into trouble. What is the correct data? Right now, in case if you just think about a scenario which has only the name is going to repeat only on two places. So you change one particular place and you forget the other one. So later when you are looking into this, you will be getting into trouble. Is it Firoza Lai or Firoza Rafiq is the correct name, right? So that happens due to the redundancy, right? Now, when we are implementing these things into an database management system using an electronic database, there are several different ways that it helps us to minimize the data redundancy, right? So it only creates small room, a very small room for errors. So this is the way that they have, if they are going to store the same data in a relational database, this is the way that they are going to save it. So as you can see, it says about 3 tables, right? So it's only record the name only on one particular table, right? So that particular table contains the student details. Next particular table is contain who are the students which has borrowed some books from the library. And the very last table contains the details of the book, right? So, and again, why this thing is called relational database, it always keeps a reference, a relation in between the tables, right? So if you want to know what is the name of the student who has borrowed the book number 3333, right? So you can easily find that. See, from 3333, from the borrowed book table, 3333 is borrowed by student number 100. So then I can refer student number 100 and I can find the name as Manoj Dayaratna, right? In case if you want to know what are the books that is borrowed by the Firoza or Firoza, right? So his student number is 101. So we can refer the 101 in the borrowed table. So 101, it says he has taken 2 books, which is 2222 and 1111, right? And in case if we need to know what is the name of the book that the Firoza has borrowed, so we find the Firoza's student number here as 101. So we refer what are the books that 101 has referred. So we find 2222 and 1111 has been referred. So then we get to know what is 1111. It's basic maths concept, and 2222 it's folk songs, right? So it is easy for us to search in one hand, and again it minimizes the data redundancy, right? So you are just storing your particular name kind of things in a one single place, then you share it, you give the access to the other people to refer the tables that you have created. Okay, is that clear, everyone? What is data redundancy and how we can eliminate that? Right, great. So the next topic is data consistency, the next point. Now, consistency means what? Like keeping it for a long time without any changes, right? So if you can remember, I think you know the famous cricketer Kumar Sangakkar from Sri Lankan cricket team. He is given the name Mr. Consistence on the field, right? For his way of batting and the way he plays during the match, right? He is very hard to get out or like bowled out during the match, right? So he knows how to play, and he knows how to have a consistent inning, right? So the same meaning applies here, data consistency, right? So we can, by minimizing the data redundancy, so we can ensure the data consistency, right? So it's not going to change. Like when you reduce the data redundancy means you will reduce the places where the data is being duplicated, right? So reducing the places where the data is being duplicated means you don't need to change many different places, but a very few. So it will ensure the consistency, right? So you can maintain the places where you need to change if you really want it. So you know this is the only place that I need to worry about, right? So it ensures data consistency, right? So here as the example, it says, if you consider the example above, student data about books and usage of books are saved separately in different tables. As such data, such as name of the student or book, should be recorded only once. Thus, data consistency is maintained, right? So if the book's name is going to repeat in a lot of places, it has a threat to lose the data consistency, right? So when it is being stored in a one particular place, we only need to concentrate on that particular place. So it ensures the data consistency. Increase efficiency, it is definitely, because once it is being stored in a particular manner, it is very easy for you to find something, easy for you to use the data for a particular things, right? Yes, Tesandu, I will. Consistency right? So so it is efficient, කාර්යක්ෂමයි, right? අපිට ඉක්මනට හොයා ගන්න පුළුවන්, right? ඉක්මනට reference අරගන්න පුළුවන්, right? So data consistency කියලා කියන්නේ තෙසඳු අපි කියනවා සිංහලෙන් සංගතතාව කියලා. සංගතතාව කියලා කියන්නේ වෙනස් නොවි පැවතීම, එකම ආකාරයකට පවත්වා ගැනීමේ හැකියාව කියලා අපි කියනවා, right? එතකොට අපි එකම data එක තැන් කීපයක record කරමු. ඒ data වෙනස් වීමේ හැකියාව වැඩි. මොකද එතන redundancy වැඩි වීම නිසා, right? redundancy කියලා කියන්නේ එකම data එක තැන් කීපයක ගබඩා කිරීම, right? අපිට database එකක් ඇතුලේ එහෙම ගබඩා කරන්න වෙන අවස්ථා පුළුවන් තරම් අපි අඩු කරගන්න. එහෙම ඒක අඩු කරගන්න අපිට මේ දත්තවල වෙනස් නොවි පැවතීම, නැත්නම් දත්තවලින් වැරදි දෙයක් represent වෙන එක අවම කර ගැනීම උඩට කරගන්න පුළුවන්, right? ඒතර දත්ත සංගතයි කියලා කියන්නේ නැත්නම් consistency කියලා කියන්නේ ඔන්න ඔය දෙයට. කියන්නේ අදාළ දත්තේ එක තැනක ගබඩා කරලා ඒක මේන්ටේන් කරගෙන යන්න. Clear තෙසඳු? Right. So increase accuracy, නිරවද්‍යභාවය ඉහළ දැමීම, right? So accuracy means the correctness, right? So again, when the redundancy is reduced, accuracy ensures, because there is only few places where they have to maintain the accuracy, right? Now if you take the same example which is given to that this particular Firosalai graphic thing, so here we had to change it in 3 different places. So වැරද්දක් වෙන්න තියෙන හැකියාව වැඩි. There is a very big possibility to make an error. But when it is being stored in one single place, room for the errors are very minimal. So data accuracy is increased, right? And increases the validity, right? So when you are like assigning a particular value to a one particular field, if it is in a if it maintains on a one single place, the validity is high, right? දත්තවල තියෙන වළංගු භාවය, right? ගොඩක් ඉහළයි, right? ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒක අපිට මේන්ටේන් කරගන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රමාණයත් ගොඩක් වැඩි වෙනවා, right? So and again we can maintain the validity with the help of a DBMS as well, right? Then when we are storing some particular values under one particular table, each and every column has their own data types, right? When we are storing a name, name is made out of texts. When we are storing a particular salary detail, it is made out of currency. When we are storing a telephone number, it's made out of numbers, right? So likewise, for each and every data that we are storing inside a database has a specific data type, right? So maintaining this data type properly will increase the validity of a particular data, right? So it is easy for us to maintain such data inside a particular database. Now here, as an instance, they say field attributes can be imposed as fees to be indicated in 2 decimals with minimum fee being 1000, which is mandatory, right? So in a database, we can give these kind of rules, right? එතකොට මෙතන කියලා තියෙන්නේ අවම fee එක 1000ක් වෙන්න ඕනේ 2 decimal places වලින් අදාළ figure එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ, right? දැන් අපි ඒක manually maintain කරොත් sometimes we may lose the way we are going to store the data, right? Sometimes we may do it in an accurate manner. But when we are doing it with an electronic database, since we can apply these kind of rules, in case if we do anything wrong, database will inform us, okay, you are doing this in a wrong way, please do it according to the instructions or like according to the validation points. Right, and security on the other hand. So like for a manual data store or like a manual database, we can only give some limited security. We can lock it inside a particular cupboard, right? So that's the maximum security that we can give. But when it comes to the electronic database, we can give the usernames, we can give the password, we can give the access privileges, we can use a technique like encryption kind of things. So there are various ways that we can give the security, provide the security to an electronic database. Right, so yeah. So before we goes to the electronic and manual database comparison, let's write these things down, Nether. Yeah, write down the heading features of database. Features of database. And then you have to write the first fact saying minimal data redundancy. And write this line to clarify what redundancy is. Then we'll write the most important part. Okay, are we done? Yes, people, are we done? Only the highlighted part you have to write. Okay, moving forward. Yeah, write this as the next point. Okay, so we don't need to draw this big amount of tables, right? So you can go with the data consistency. Yeah, and this part, copy that down. And regarding increase efficiency, these two lines, that will be sufficient. Okay, one is done. How about others? Can we move forward? All right, moving forward. Increase accuracy. You can have it this. Yeah. Increase accuracy. And there is few to go. Okay. Are we done? Ossit me about data consistency. Yeah, it's the very first paragraph that you need to write there. Right? So regarding each and every feature, it's the first paragraph that you need to write. So after the increases accuracy, then we are going to talk about increases of validity. The first paragraph again. All right, are we done? Can we move forward? Okay, so moving forward, the final thing, I guess, the security. Okay, one is done. How about others? Right. So moving forward, people. Yeah, so we are going to discuss about the comparison in between electronic and manual database. Now, I think you can realize what are the differences, or like what are the things to be compared in between manual database and electronic database. So for a manual database, just think about that we are storing the data in a particular book, right? And for an electronic database, just think about your mobile device or the computer, right? So it is easy to compare then, right? Manual database, less efficient; electronic database, more efficient, right? And less accuracy, more accuracy, right? Less credible, more credible. It's regarding the reliability, right? And difficult to analyze data, the manual database, we have to go page by page, and easy to analyze. Like think about the analysis that you can do even using Excel, right? Should present in the order of input, right? Can change the data input order, right? So you will learn these things when we are doing the database further on the next weeks, right? Difficult to delete unnecessary data. So like if you're writing something on a book, it's either you have to tipex it or you have to like strike it through. Like you can't like take it away. But when it comes to the electronic data, we can simply delete it without making any harm to the other data, right? And difficult to update data. So like, as you can see, if we are going to change a particular name, we have to cut it and write the updated version or tpex it, or like we have to do some like time consuming thing, right? But it's when it comes to the updation of the data of a computer, it is very easy. We select the data, we delete it, and we re-type it. So no tpex, no any additional works to be done. Then and there, the things can be changed, right? More space is needed to save data. Yes, we talk about this. A very small space is needed to save the data. So like, if you think about a book, a manual book will take some space of a book rack. And if you think about the ebook, it only takes the space of the computer. So inside the computer, we can store thousands of ebooks, but to store the manual books, thousands of manual books, we need one book rack is not sufficient. Like we need many book racks. So that means we need many space, right? And more manpower is needed without a doubt. And in electronic database, less manpower is needed, right? So it's a simple comparison, people, and these things can be easily tested in your examination, right? For the MCQs, for the short answer types, right? So at home, you have to complete this table. So have the heading electronic and manual database, right? And you don't need to write the explanation. Just copy the table which contains the data, right? The comparison, right? So we will be starting discussion of the introduction to relational database by next week, right? And then and there we are going to learn what do you mean by a record, what do you mean by a field, what do you mean by an object, right? So there are some things for you to learn, right? So I'll see you on next week for the same time, like without a delay, 3:30, I'm sorry, 2:30, right? And we'll discuss about the relational database, right? So thank you very much, people, for staying today. So I'll see you on next week for the very same time, right? Have a good night. Have a good night, everyone.